Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Thank you. Glad to be here. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we will not be charging you for your free time travel episode. That's right. If you participated in Tuesday's time travel, it was free. We're not going to charge you for it. Does that sound good, Jared? We'll let them have it for free?
Yeah, I think we should do that.
We're not even going to charge them for the trip?
Let them have it for free.
Yeah, there was a ghost in the machine. And, there was a ghost in the machine, and something happened that wasn't supposed to happen, but then we fixed it, but it kind of wasn't fixed. It's okay, you know. I didn't get caught saying something I wasn't supposed to say. Don't fear. But here we are, and today's episode is number 545 by 39. No, it's not 545 by 39, but that is a good thing to have, right? The 545 by 39 Russian cartridge is probably, in the United States of America at least, one of the most underestimated, underappreciated, misunderstood cartridges on planet Earth. It really is. And part of that is due to, there's a lot of things. There's the ignorance of our slave masters and...
I thought you were going to say racism. No,
racism. The desire on the part of some bureaucrats to keep the peasants down, and we've got all this artificial nonsense, this unconstitutional nonsense about how the American public they're only allowed to have firearms if an autonomous bureaucracy deems them to have legitimate sporting use. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've actually read not only the Bill of Rights, but I read the entire Constitution. And I read the Declaration of Independence. And I've read, now I'll admit to you, I have not read the entire Federalist Papers because there's a lot of them. But nowhere in my historical learnings of the founding of the United States of America did I ever find the use of the word legitimate sporting purpose. How about you? Did you guys find it? Jared, when you were reading the Bill of Rights, did you find the words legitimate sporting purpose in there?
No, I have never seen that. But I think... what's his name? Steven Crowder. I think he did.
Oh, he did? Yeah. Like, I'm super serious. If these things get, like, really scary, like with the black thing that sticks down that you can hold on to, or if they can shoot lots of bullets, then this is all about hunting, seriously. No, I'm being 100% totally serious with you guys out there. If you are a citizen of the United States of America, and you fall under that whole constitutional protection thing, the Bill of Rights and what have you, where in the Bill of Rights does it say that the government is allowed to sanction what you, as a citizen, are allowed to own based upon their own interpretation of what is legitimate sporting purpose? Let's go ahead and let's throw the cards on the table here. The use of the term legitimate sporting purpose by a government bureaucracy to deny the people of the United States the ability to possess an inanimate object is tyranny. It is unconstitutional. It is illegal. It is unlawful. And the only reason they're able to get away with it is because they've convinced so many of your brothers and sisters, of your mothers and fathers, of your friends, neighbors, and relatives. They've convinced them that the United States government and the current bureaucracy in charge is the king, is the crown, is the arbiter of all that is fair and right and correct in the world. And anything that the latest bureaucracy comes along and says, well, that's the law, because the king they said it's the law, and they work for the government. And if you work for the government, you can just say, this is the law, and the peasants have to obey. Really? Is that how that works? And that is the reason why you probably don't have a good 5.45 by 39 rifle or handgun because of that. But we're not going to talk about that so much today. We're going to start out with the Tango Sierra Alpha. We got a story here from guns.gab. And the story was it was published on, 2/17/17 by Jennifer Cruz. And the title is TSA Airport Employees Busted for Massive Cocaine Smuggling Operation. What? That's crazy talk. I mean, who would have thought that the people who are in the TSA are a bunch of thugs and criminals? Oh, that's right. Everybody who's been paying attention for the last 10 to 15, going on 15 years. We pretty much realized about 1 year into the TSA's existence that they were going to be nothing but a bunch of bureaucratic thugs. And they were going to be these badge-heavy, shaking down grandma for the grapes, the baggie of grapes, sticking their hands in down the pants of little 3- and 4-year-old children and making them cry. Yeah, taking kids' toys away from them because the toy has the Buzz Lightyear, the Woody, you guys remember that? Yeah, the little Woody the cowboy had a little plastic 6-shooter that was like an inch long, 1.5 inches long, and they confiscated it. People who have been refused entry to airline, they can't get through airport security because they have a shirt or a purse or a bag. Remember the woman who couldn't bring her purse on the plane because it had decorative 6-shooters? Remember that, Jared?
Yep.
Crossed 6-shooters. It was, yeah. Because apparently you can hold up your purse with a picture of 6 guns on it. You hold that up and show the flight attendant, and you can take over the airplane with that. Fingernail clippers, you name it.
Grapes.
Yeah, grapes. Water. Because you could take the plane down with water, and they're like, no, we did some research, and we found that terrorists can blah, blah. Well, what are we doing about the terrorists? Oh, that's right. We're inviting them to come live in our country. So on one hand, we have the TSA molesting people. We have the TSA abusing American travelers. And on the other hand, for the last 8 years, the people that we're supposed to be in fear of, the ones that we actually know are trying to, kill the people of the United States of America and commit terrorism, we're just letting them come in. We're giving them student visas and refugee visas and all kinds of things. But you and I, we've got to go through the TSA molestation every time we want to travel. And that's just a part of the new America. Let's go ahead and dive into this story here. 12 people were arrested this week for the various parts they played in a massive cocaine smuggling operation at the Luis Munoz Marin International Airport in Puerto Rico. And for those of you that aren't hip, Puerto Rico it's not a state, but it is a territory of the United States of America. Authorities say the defendants, who are airport employees, as well as current and former agents with the Transportation Security Administration, were responsible for smuggling approximately, 2 kilos, 3 kilos, couple grams, few ounces. No, 20 tons of cocaine through the airport from a period of 1998 to 2016. You're like, hang on, Paul. There was no TSA in 1998. No, there wasn't. But they got in there, and they apparently they just took over the route. It's like a FedEx guy, your FedEx guy is different because a new guy bought the route. Well, that's what's going on down there. The defendants said were said to have worked in unison to get cocaine-laden suitcases through airport security without detection, while those transporting the drugs were given the all clear by security personnel involved in the operation to board designated planes. So your grandma can't bring a baggie of grapes onto the plane because they're forbidden. You're not allowed to bring that bottle of Fiji water through because you could take down the aircraft. Your little children set the thing off and they're molested by these freaks. Oh, that's right. Don't forget about the homosexuals that were singling out attractive members of their own sex so that they could feel them up in extra secure. Oh, yeah, that happened. Don't forget about that. But it's all for security. It's all for our own good, right? It's all for our security. It's all for our own good. Oh, the investigation was launched by the TSA as a part of an ongoing effort uncovering misconduct and security threats by employees. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Mm-hmm. The TSA is a joke. The TSA is not keeping us secure. The TSA is there only to convince you, the American public, that you are a slave and that you require the approval and permission of your government before you live your life. Raise your hands over your head, be a good little peasant, and submit. There you go. And never forget, TSA officers, I don't care what their little sweater vests say on them, I don't care what kind of little badges they have stitched into their blue sweater vests, are not law enforcement officers. They never have been, they never will be. They're thugs. And if you know someone that's in the TSA, sorry for you. If you are in the TSA, well, you're wrong. So, I'm sure there was really nice people in the Gestapo. You know what I mean, Jared? There's probably really nice. I'm sure that that the SS, the SA, SD. I'm sure that there were nice people that had like families and kids and stuff. It was just a job. It's just a job. So what that I'm terrorizing my fellow citizens? Who cares? It's just a job. Yeah, that's right. Let's thank our friends at Brownells because, well, if it wasn't for Brownells, you probably wouldn't be able to find that spring that you lost in the carpet. You still can't find it, but you can get a replacement from Brownells. Or that little tiny extractor part that slipped off of your bench and went into the black hole of space, and now you can't find that. Yeah, you're like, so what you do is you go to brownells.com and you look, and if you can't find it, you give them a call, and they actually have on-staff gunsmiths there, and you say, hey, I've got a Ruger Model 77, and I disassembled it, and that one piece now is gone. Help. And they can help you because that's why they're there. They're friendly people. It's a family business. And if they can't help you, they will steer you in a direction that will help you. I guarantee it. Brownells.com. Frog Lube, it's green, it's minty fresh. It's a bio-based firearms lubricant. And because it's a bio-based firearms lubricant, you can put it on your guns and knives, and you can put it on anything you want. I mean, you can lick your fingers clean after you get Frog Lube on. Now, don't lick up the carbon and all the burnt powder and stuff, because you probably don't want that. But it's not going to harm, Frog Lube's not going to harm your optics. It's not going to harm your electronics. It's not going to harm your ammunition. And you can get Frog Lube products from them, froglube.com, or you can get it from Brownells, or you can get it from your favorite retailer. I don't care what you do. You're an American. Get it anywhere you want. Or if you're overseas, if you're in Europe and you don't want your steel drum to rust up, order Frog Lube by the gallon. Drive on, man. Century Arms is the sweetest smelling arms maker in the U.S. of A. And as you know, they're bringing you the Canik TP9SF Elite. And if you guys have not watched the videos that we posted on our Instagram, the official Student of the Gun Instagram, or the official Student of the Gun Facebook, well, you're missing out, but you're an American or whatever you happen to be. And you don't have to, but if you want to, they're there for you. You can check out Century Arms at centuryarms.com. Now, why should I Duracoat my gun? You don't have to Duracoat your gun or your knife or anything. You don't have to. You can walk around with an ugly gun if you want to. But here's the thing. If you have an ugly gun today, that's a choice. You've made the choice to have an ugly gun. Because Duracoat has made it so that there really is no reason for you to have one other than you just want it. But if you'd like to have a gun that is unique, that is protected from the elements, well, go to Lauer Weaponry. That's Lauer Weaponry. Spell weaponry yourself. You're a high school graduate. If there's a color that you can think of, I'm looking around this room right now, and I think basically every shade of every color is available in the Duracoat catalog.
But do they have 50 shades
No.
of gray?
They probably have 50 shades of green while you're bull crapping over there. It is still February. It's still February. And because it's February, you should go over to Duracoat and you should pick yourself up some slightly darker black. Now, I don't know if slightly darker black is in the Brownells catalog yet, but it should be soon if it's not. But you can get Duracoat products from Lauer Weaponry, or you can get it from Brownells.com. Get it wherever you want. I don't care. SWAT Fuel. Stronger bodies, sharper minds, SWAT Fuel. They've got the 9mm plus P, the 9mm fat burner, the 40 caliber multivitamin for all you guys out there, and the 44 Magnum protein powder. And if you are lifting heavy things, if you understand what lifting heavy things is all about, and you don't want to have the disgusting protein powder farts and burps and all the gastrointestinal nastiness that goes along with buying the cheap $20 for a giant jar at Walmart or wherever you're buying that crap. It's good. It's not cheap. You know why it's not cheap? Because it's top of the line. Now, if you want a top of the line body, I guess that's a question, Jared, that people have to answer to them, ask themselves: is do I want my body to be top of the line? Do I want it to be premium A number one, or is my body Walmart discount store? It's up to you, man. But if you want to find out more about SWAT Fuel, you can go to SWATfuelstore.com and you can start there. And while you're there, make sure that you use the promo code SOTG 2015, because if you do that, you're going to save yourself some money, and that's a good thing. Now, the reason that I'm going to talk about this next subject is because I was on my computer, and pretty much every public site that you use, whether it's Gmail or, well, maybe not so much Gmail, but a lot of these sites have sidebar pop-up ads, right? And I'm sitting there, and all this weird crap pops up on me. I had one where it was a support Planned Parenthood, donate now. They don't get enough money from killing babies that they need my money too? What the farfignugan is that crap? And then I get this one about the AARP. Join today. No thanks. And it occurred to me that it is my job, it is my duty in life to make sure that you guys are aware of what's going on in the world, because, all right, I'll give you a great example. Jared, Wounded Warrior Project. Are they pro-America? Are they pro-Constitution? Are they pro-liberty?
I'm going to go with no.
No. They've proven by their actions that they are not pro-Constitution, they are not pro-America, and they are not pro-liberty. And yet, I see people in our culture wearing their stupid shirts. And they're like, whoa, what do you mean? I didn't. Where's this coming from? When did Wounded Warrior become an anti-gun, anti-American organization? They do good things for veterans. Yeah, okay. No, they do good things for themselves on the backs and the sympathies of the American people. A similar organization is the AARP, the American Association of Retarded People. In case you didn't know it, AARP is not a friend of freedom-loving Americans. Now, I'm gonna give you some examples here. If you are a member of AARP and you're a listener or student of the gun, you're wrong, you are screwing up, and you are giving your money to an organization that wants to disarm you, just so you know. Got a story here from grandviewoutdoors.com, and it's dated, it's pretty recent. It's dated January 4th, 2017 by Bob Robb. And it says, does AARP want your guns? Question mark. Look behind the mask to see what this mega business is really all about, and you'll find out it's not friendly to those who support the Second Amendment. Now, let's go ahead. Now, the AARP has been a political PAC for a long time. They supported the Brady Act, and which is gun control, which is unrestricted gun control. But let's go ahead and get a quote from the AARP's website. Quote, Congress should eliminate gaps in and strengthen enforcement of the Brady Handgun Violence Protection Act and other federal gun laws. States should enact legislation to eliminate gaps in and strengthen enforcement of federal and state gun laws, particularly with regard to possession by juveniles, convicted domestic abusers, and those under domestic violence restraining orders. Let me go ahead and break that down for you. First of all, the AARP is supposed to be for retired people. So why are they getting involved in the gun control debate? Why does AARP even have an opinion about firearms legislation when they're supposed to be, according to their own name, the American Association of Retired Persons? Because they're not. Because they play on the sympathies of your grandma and your grandpa. That's why, or you, if you are of retirement age. They play on your ignorance and your sympathies. And they are a political organization who have some benefits. Now, that's the gun thing. Can we all come to the table and admit that the Obamacare, you notice how they try to distance the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, from the words Obamacare? Once it started crumbling, the media stopped using the term Obamacare. Once they found out that it was driving doctors out of business and it was pricing people out of the market, they decided, it's the Affordable Care Act. Did you know that they did an on-the-street survey, and there's at least 50% of the people they interviewed did not know that ACA and Obamacare were the same thing? Does that surprise you, Jared?
No.
Yeah. So I think in February of 2017, even your most blind liberal friends have to admit that now they might say Obamacare is a failure because, the only reason Obamacare is not working is because Republicans obstructed it and shut up. You are an idiot. You are a blithering idiot. You are a moron. Get away from me. That's what you say to your friends who want to still defend Obamacare. Obamacare was designed, the ACA was designed to be a failure. They knew from the get-go that it was going to fail. They knew that it was never going to come in under budget. They knew it was going to be a failure. And that failure, because everyone in America is a freaking victim. Everyone. Cradle to grave, you're a victim. And one of the biggest victimizations of the American people is that you've been convinced that your health care should be paid for by someone else. It's not your responsibility to pay for your own doctors and treatment and so forth. You don't understand, Paul? Yes, I do understand. I understand that the reason it's so damned expensive is because you're not paying for it out of pocket. Because the cost is shuffled around in the air. Do you know why college costs so much? Can I hip you to that? Because why is community college so inexpensive compared to standard college? Because it's not a good education. Is a BA or a BS from a community college or an AA or whatever, is it not the same? Well, technically it is, but it's no. The reason that it's so expensive to go to a college, the reason that your kids are paying $275 for a hardback textbook is because nobody pays for it out of pocket. They either get loans or grants or deferment or whatever. And let's face it, if you're 19 years old, you have your whole rest of your life ahead of you. Even putting yourself $20 to $30 to $50,000 in debt means nothing to you. It's free money. That's why it costs so much. If you had to pay for college up front, like if you had to sit down and write a check to pay for college for everything, no grants, no loans, no deferments, just straight up money, it would be competitively priced. The exact same thing has happened in healthcare. Because when it's insurance or Medicare or Medicaid or Obamacare, then somebody else is footing the bill. Or the bill is like this magical non-entity. That's why it costs so much. And never mind the fact that we have all these tort lawyers suing doctors out of business, suing hospitals out of business. All those a-holes with billboards you see when you drive down the highway, one call, have you been injured? Those guys, you want to know why your hospital stay costs so much? Because of those a-holes with the billboards out on the highway. You're paying for that. You're paying for that guy's lawsuit. Yeah. So now that we've set the table that Obamacare is a failure. It is untenable. It can't sustain itself. Even if your craziest lunatic liberal friends, even they'll have to admit, wow, I kind of guess it is. Let's go ahead and we need to remember the people that supported that. The people who profited off of the passage of Obamacare. We were warned. The warnings were out there. When this was being shoved down our throats, people said, hey, this thing is going to fail. It's planned to fail. But the greedy, selfish, short-sighted people of the world didn't care. And which organization was right there behind Obamacare, supporting it the whole time? That's right, the American Association of Retarded Persons. And there's a Forbes article. Now, the Forbes article goes all the way back to 2012. And the title is, How the AARP Made $2.8 billion with a B by supporting Obamacare's cuts to Medicare. Because you remember that the opponents of the ACA and Obamacare, they went to the seniors and they said, hey, seniors, all you Medicare recipients, in order to make this happen, they're going to cut Medicare. And what did the AARP do? They went out and they ran defense for them. They told their members, oh, no, members. Obamacare will be good for you and good for America. It'll be fair. It'll be this. It'll be that. Because why? Because they stood to make a ton of money off of it. The lesson for today is this. The AARP is not your friend. They are not the friends of the people of the United States of America who care about freedom. They're friends of themselves and of slaves who have given up on life, but not you. So the next time you see one of those flyers that comes to your house, tear it up, throw it in the garbage. Use it to line your litter box or whatever. All right. We've got a little bit of more medical stuff, but I decided that it would be fun to throw a little theme song in here before I talk more about doctors and medical.
Say I wanna set you free. Don't you know you're being misery? They call me Dr. Love. They call me Dr. Love. I've got the cure you're thinking of. Dr. Love. And even though I'm full of sin,
We haven't played that one in a while. Last time we played it, I let slip that was your mom's nickname for me at one point in time.
I got nothing.
This story comes to us from guns.com. And it's a story by Chris Edger, or Egger. I think it's probably Edger. And it's dated 2/17/17. Florida, Docs versus Glocks. Oh, my Lord. What would writers and people, what would people do if there wasn't the word Glock? People love, gosh, even the left loves the word Glock. It just makes them happy. Florida's, quote, Docs versus Glocks case ruling handed down in Doc's favor. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this here. A 10-1 panel on the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on Thursday largely dismantled Florida's law prohibiting healthcare workers from asking about their patients' firearms. Seems like a good use of time for the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, right, Jared? I mean, it's a good use of their time.
Oh, yeah.
Dismantling a Florida law. The 90-page opinion, 90 pages, 90, vacated a long-standing, and repeatedly defended ruling and found the law trampled healthcare workers' First Amendment rights. It's going to be really hard for me to keep this family-friendly PG, but I'm going to do my best. The court felt that the Firearms Owners Privacy Act, signed into law by Governor Rick Scott in 2011, after passage by the state legislature, placed healthcare providers at a dangerous crossroads that in the end had a chilling effect on how they could talk to their patients. Now, let's go ahead and push pause on this story. Ladies and gentlemen of the United States of America, I know if you're in another country, just you're just eating your popcorn. I'm just here for the comments, eating my popcorn. Oh, you remember we keep going back to this pesky Constitution thing, right? Constitution thing. Okay, and we go back to the Bill of Rights, right? So, what's protected in the First Amendment? Freedom of speech, right? Okay. But what's the most important kind of speech? Political speech, right? Okay. So, but what's the 10th Amendment? It says that the powers not granted to the U.S. government by the Constitution are held to the states and to the people, respectively. Interstate Commerce Clause and all that jazz. So you might be asking yourself, if you're a constitutionalist and if you understand the concept of representative republicanism, why is the centralized federal government sticking their camel's nose under the tent of a sovereign state, which in this case happens to be Florida? And why did the U.S. Circuit, you guys understand how the courts of appeals and Supreme Court work. They don't have to rule on cases. If a case is put before them, they can say basically that we're going to leave this stand. They don't have to. So why do they feel the need to do this? To interfere in states' affairs. Let's go ahead and continue the story here and quote. This is a quote from the story. It's a quote from one of the judges here. Doctors can choose and silence and self-censorship, thereby shouldering the burden of knowing they could have said more, counseled more, and warned more before a tragic accident, said Judge Stanley Marcus in one of two majority opinions. Or they may proceed with their speech and potentially face punishment according to the arbitrary whims of annoyed patients or a board of medicine that is wholly unrestrained by clear statutory guidelines. What? So, in this is the the mentality of the ruling class, which these judges put themselves in, is that you, the patient, the peasant, the plebe class, the great unwashed morons of America, you cannot be left to make your own decisions because you don't know how to live your life. You think you do. You think you know how to live your life. You know how to order your life and how to behave, but you're really wrong. And it's a good thing that there are people in the United States that are so much more intelligent than you to give you good advice on how to live your life, such as, warning you before there's a tragic accident. Hey, Judge Stanley Marcus. Oh, Jared, you have no idea how hard this is.
You can do it.
You can do it. Hey, there's this Center for Disease Control in the United States, and there are actually several agencies and organizations that track tragic accidental death in the United States of America. And did you know what? Every single year, firearms accidents rank far below several other types of accidental deaths, including drowning and poisoning and death by misdiagnosis. Also, death due to prescription drugs. You want to be scared? You want to look at your pill bottle in a little different manner? Take the time to go to your favorite search engine and type in the words prescription drug death, accidental OD, accidental death. Yeah. You read that and you'd be like, holy crap. And, of course, we have car accidents. We have fires and burns. We have drowning. We have falls. We have poisoning. Accidental firearms deaths rank way below all those other things. So I guess my question to Judge Stanley Marcus is, are all these doctors who are concerning themselves about whether or not you own guns and have guns in your house, are they asking how you got to your doctor's appointment? How did you get to your doctor's appointment here today? I drove my car. Don't you understand that automobile accidents are the leading accidental death cause in the United States of America? Don't you understand the risk you're putting yourself at getting into a car every day and driving on the road? Statistically, you're more likely to be killed in a car accident than any other kind of accident. Are these doctors concerned with that? How about all the prescription drugs that they hand out like candy? Half the country is on some kind of dope cocktail. Well, but people need the drugs. Yeah, but people are dying like crazy. Yeah, exactly. What's your answer to that, Dr. Douche Nozzle? Now, when it comes down to it, here's the dealio. And this is what the point I want to drive home. It's not whether or not the 11th U.S. Circuit Court, these federal judges, have once again stuck their nose in and legislate from the bench, which is what we do in America today. The people vote on laws, their representatives vote on laws, their governors sign the laws, and then the liberal do-gooders come in and they're like, we don't like that. Riddle me this, Jared. Who is it that brought this lawsuit? Was it the doctors themselves? Was it some ombudsman on behalf of the doctors? How much money was spent filing this lawsuit? I bet you it was a lot. So who has this axe to grind?
Gun control group Everytown for Gun Safety, who filed numerous briefs urging the court to take up the case. Welcome the news from the 11th Circuit.
Ding. Everytown for Gun Safety. Who's Everytown for Gun Safety's cash cow? Nanny Bloomberg. Yeah, Nanny Bloomberg. The nanny herself. It wasn't enough for Nanny Bloomberg to screw with New York City. Nanny Bloomberg's got to screw with the whole country. So we've got billionaire gun hater and everybody's nanny, Bloomberg, funding every town for gun safety. Well, how about every town for automobile safety? How about every town for prescription drug safety? How about every town for, we got to do something about gravity. Every day people are falling and hurting themselves. Yeah, no kidding. We have to do something about water. Every day people are drowning in America and it's just wrong. Yeah. When it comes down to it, though, here's what I'm going to tell you. And this is going to be empowering. You need to embrace this. You are a free man. You are a free woman. The doctor is not your mom. The doctor is not your dad. The doctor is not your boss. Believe it or not, you don't work for them. It's the opposite. They work for you. Now, whether you have an insurance plan or whatever, the fact of the matter is you pay him or her. They don't pay you. And when you go in there, you don't have to tell them anything. If my doctor, if I were to go in there and they were to say, do you have firearms in the home? How many do you have and where are they stored? I would tell them to go fornicate themselves. You know what? There are other doctors in the world. I had a doctor that was a dick. And I can say that on radio, right? I can say dick, right, Jared? I just can't say the other words.
Sure.
I had a doctor that was a smug, arrogant dick. And you know what? I don't go to that doctor anymore. I told him to go fornicate himself. I go somewhere else. Because you don't have to. And if you have put yourself in a position where it doesn't, Paul, you understand, it's the only doctor, I don't understand. You're a slave. Live like a free man, die like a free man. And if a doctor or a healthcare professional wants to know about your guns, you can offer that they should venture forward and fornicate themselves. There you go. Whew. It's as simple as that, folks. And there shouldn't have had to been there shouldn't have even had to been a Florida law. Because the people in Florida should have the balls enough, the people of America, to tell their doctors to go fornicate themselves. You're not my boss. You work for me. I pay you. Yeah. You're not my mom. You're not my dad. I have parents. You're not them. So there you go, folks. Woo! But I am your doctor of love.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. It's 2012, y'all about the election of an antichrist.
All right, guys. It's time for Student of the Gun Homeroom, brought to you by our friends at Crossbreed Holsters. If you want to carry a gun, you should go to Crossbreed Holsters because they can help you do that. And they can. That's their job. That's their business. That's what they do. They're a family-owned business in Missouri. And if you want to carry a gun comfortably on your body all the time, go to crossbreedholsters.com. They can help you out. All right, speaking of carrying guns, let's talk about, for some reason, not everybody in my audience seems to get it and seems to understand. When it comes to concealed carry in the United States of America, we have may issue, which means that the state has the discretion to either say yes or they can just arbitrarily say no. There are many states still in the United States, well, slave states, where they can arbitrarily tell you no. You go in, you say, I'd like to apply for a concealed carry permit, and the sheriff or the bureaucrat in charge looks at you and they take your thing, and they're like, yeah, the answer is no, bye. And in a may issue state, there's nothing you can do about it. You really don't have any recourse because the law says they may if they feel like it, but if they don't, then you can just piss off. Now, in shall issue states, that's the difference between the English language, may and shall. Shall issue commands the government bureaucrat that commands the agency to issue you that card with your picture on it as long as you've done everything that they required, that you filled out the form, you gave them the little pictures, you signed your check, and you had your little digital fingerprints done, and so then they shall issue it to you. And the only clause there is unless they can come up with an affirmative reason for you not to be. And the affirmative reasons are spelled out in detail in the law. You know, will be denied for the following: convicted felon, right? Habitual drug user, has been adjudicated by a court of law to be mentally incompetent, such on and so forth, right? But and if they tell you in a shall issue state, if you go and you do all your paperwork and you do all that stuff, and they don't give it to you, and every shall issue state that I know, they put a time limit in the law. They had to do that because they knew that bureaucrats would be like, well, we shall issue it, but it didn't say when, so we'll just do it whenever we feel like it. No, in the law, they actually put a timestamp. And it says, no, you have to give it to these people by this date, or you have to explain to them, you have to give them a reason why. Now, in a shall issue state, if they tell you no, they have to cite a very specific reason. They have to cite the law and say, okay, the answer is no because in January of 2010, the court in blah, blah, blah adjudicated you to be mentally incompetent. And so the answer is no, Sparky. Or you were convicted of armed robbery in 2013, and the answer is no, freak. Whatever. But shall issue, if they tell you no in a shall issue state, then they just can't say no, piss off, go away. We said no, and this is too bad. Now, just because you're in a shall issue state and you're denied, that doesn't change the fact that the law is still shall issue. Say, well, I didn't get mine, so it's no longer a shall issue state. No, they have to give you a reason. Now, constitutional carry is also called no permit required. Most places don't call it constitutional carry on the books. It just says that a permit is not required in order to blah, blah, blah. As long as a person can legally purchase and own a gun, they can legally carry it. So I felt the need, and the answer to your question there, Jared, is tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow. So I felt the need to kind of spend some time on that, and that also is a little bit of a setup for next week. So, all right, that is the it. That's it. How's that sound for this week? And thank you for joining us for another week of Student of the Gun Radio. Now, we will be back with another public hour on Monday. If you are a grad program member, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Don't sweat it. And if you want to be a grad program member, and why don't you? I don't understand. Go over to studentofthegunradio.com and you click on the button that says Become a Member, and it tells you all the benefits you get and how you get it and so on and so forth. And if that's the case, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Until then, remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.